What's up YouTube? My name is Joystick and I have a brand new video for you today. I'm going to be talking about the current meta with the brand new patch rolling out within the last couple of weeks. I think people are really confused on what are the strongest heroes in the game and what heroes should you be running in your competitive rank games to get the most value and to get more wins. So I'm going to start off by running through the tank line and what, in my opinion, are the strongest tanks currently. So let's get started. So first of all, as you all, I'm sure, are aware, the last patch consisted of the double shield meta. And in my opinion, I think that's still very relevant. So as I go through this, you will kind of see why I think that. So starting off, I think the best tank in Overwatch is Orisa, which I'm going to move to S tier right away. This is because Orisa just gets so much value from her shield management, her fortify ability, her ability to sustain through fights, and her halt ability, which can be comboed with so many different other abilities and ultimates. So automatically I want to put Orisa at the top here. Secondly, Sigma will be number 2. I will put Sigma in the S tier to like kind of be like a tank duo with Orisa, because just the shield management alone with these two heroes together just works so well. And Sigma obviously has a very strong ultimate ability within Graphitic Flux, which can be also comboed with Orisa with her halt. If Orisa pulls the enemies together, Sigma uses ult, and you can get a big ult from that. So just a lot of shield break and a lot of shielding and protection for your team in general ranks them at the top. Moving on to the third tank, I would actually put in Reinhardt, not an S tier but A tier. And I'm personally a Reinhardt specialist. Like, I'm a main tank player, as you guys know, but Reinhardt's probably my best tank of them all. And I wouldn't quite put Reinhardt into A tier, or into S tier, but definitely A tier, because Reinhardt is a very strong pick when the shields actually break this time around. On the new patch, shields got nerfed across the board, so I think Reinhardt can get a lot of value from Earth Shatter, which is his ultimate ability, and just the sheer ability to be able to rotate your shields and move with your shield, as Reinhardt is just so strong. Secondly, Fire Strike is a very important ability in this meta. Reinhardt's Fire Strike can be comboed with Orisa. If Orisa pulls the enemies together, you Fire Strike through it for like a free 30 to 40% ult charge towards your next ultimate ability. It's so good. And then also Fire Strike can be comboed with Orisa's halt. They're pulled together, and actually Baptiste's ultimate amplification matrix. You Fire Strike through the matrix while Orisa pulls them together. Sometimes you can get some big kills because you can literally one-shot a squishy target. So I would put Reinhardt not quite at S, but at A. And moving forward, I want to talk about Wrecking Ball, which is the next tank. I would also put right behind Reinhardt, but not in front of Reinhardt, in A tier, because I think Wrecking Ball is kind of an underrated pick right now. Wrecking Ball does a lot of disruption, a lot of distraction, and Minefield has always been a very strong ability. So if you're able to combo it with, again, Orisa, pull the targets together, Wrecking Ball uses his ultimate ability, and that's already just a lot of damage in general. So But I don't think Wrecking Ball is quite S tier because he gets pretty countered by Mei right now. And if the enemy team's running Mei, you're in trouble and you have to play a little bit safer. So moving forward, I want to talk who would be in B tier as a tank, and I would say it would be Winston, personally, because Winston just doesn't quite get enough value and sustain against some of the DPS heroes that counter him. For example, Mei, another almost hard counter. You have to be very careful how you approach engagements. You're not even It's not really that you're diving anymore with Winston. It's more that you're surrounding your enemy and dropping onto the enemies without using your cooldowns. And then once you need to heal up, use your cooldowns to get out. So it's not really dive in the sense anymore. It's more of like surrounding your targets and finding the damage value onto the squishy targets more than anything. You're not really going to be fighting tanks too much as Winston, so I don't think he's that strong. Doesn't do a lot of shield break, obviously. Can't really do any shield break with his Tesla gun. So he's not A tier, and I would almost put him at C tier, but I think he's okay at B. So moving forward, I wanted to put in Roadhog at C tier. I think Roadhog is kind of a niche pick right now. Obviously, Roadhog provides a lot of shield pressure and shield break with his buff to he has a 6th shot in his gun, but he kind of just doesn't do enough in a sense. You have to be consistently landing hooks, which is very, very difficult against an Orisa and a Sigma, so you better be a god Roadhog if you want it to work. That's all I have to say. So moving forward, we have I would say Zarya would be D tier. I don't think Zarya is that good of a pick right now, just because she can't really do enough. Even if you're 100 charge with Zarya, there's still too many shields in the way, and even if you're running a Reinhardt with a Zarya, you still just get absolutely shredded with the amount of damage that the DPS do to you, and that's just you're not going to sustain enough and do enough for your team. So I do not really recommend Zarya right now. Try to avoid that hero if you can. This is the last tank, I believe, D.Va. I'm gonna go ahead and put her in F tier. I don't think she is by any means a hero you should be playing at all. Because D.Va just doesn't provide any type of value. She's basically an ult battery, free ult charge, and D.Va Bomb just doesn't really do much against all the shielding and especially Immortality Field. And her damage output isn't very high, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep her in the F tier. And I almost want to move Zarya down to E tier. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that now. So now we can start to talk about the damage dealers. So let's start with who's the best damage dealer. The DPS category, you want to be running Mei. Mei is just so unbelievably good. She can freeze multiple targets at once. She has 250 HP. She can ice block and heal herself. She can wall off enemy targets and isolate targets. And on top of it, she can freeze the entire enemy team with Blizzard, which is her ultimate ability. She's just the queen of the DPS meta right now. So she just gets the max value, I think, and counters almost all of the entire tank line by herself. It's actually absurd. In my opinion, she needs a major nerf, But, you know, I'm not the Blizzard dev team. I'm just here to talk about the tier list. So, next up is Hanzo. And I would put Hanzo here because he can provide so much shield pressure and shield break with his Storm Bow. And that's always important when you're trying to take an objective or push forward with your team. You want to be able to break the shields, and his ultimate with his dragon can be comboed with Orisa, so can get some very, very clean kills that way. Next up, I would say Doomfist is the number 3 for. I'm gonna put him in A tier though because he's not quite as strong as these heroes, and Doomfist just gets a little bit more countered in this new patch by Mei, by Hanzo, and Sigma Rock. I mean, I think Doomfist is still very, very strong, but he's not quite what he used to be in the last patch. I think Doomfist was S tier last patch, but he takes a little bit of a step back right now. Next is actually going to be Reaper, right behind Doom. And I think Reaper is always been very strong within the last couple of months. So he's obviously a tank shredder, hard counters Orisa, hard counters, not necessarily hard counters Sigma, but if you know how to play a Reaper correctly and you bait out Sigma's E ability, you can get some big ultimates like Death Blossom. So he's just a very good brawler in general. So next up, I want to talk about a sleeper pick in the meta, and that is actually Ashe. I'm gonna go ahead and put her in B tier. Not quite an A tier hero because I don't think she gets as much value as she should be getting, but she's definitely a B tier hero. She can get a lot of damage done actually with Dynamite. If you're consistently landing your Dynamites, there's nothing really to stop that other than missing your Dynamites. If you miss them, you're not going to get a lot of value, but if you're consistent and you're farming your ultimate, which is Bob, you can get a lot of damage done actually. So next up, we're going to move to C tier. I'm going to put in a Widow here. Widowmaker just does a lot of potential pick damage and a lot of poke. If you're a consistent sniper player, you're probably a little bit happier that hit scans are kind of a little bit back with the shield nerf. So I think Widow does enough if you're consistent getting headshots and getting picked targets. So it all kind of just depends if you're consistent with the hero and how much experience you have with Widowmaker. I wouldn't recommend just picking her up right now out of the blue. You're not going to find a lot of value. So next I'm going to have to throw in McCree. I think McCree is not quite B, but C, because he has Flashbang, which is a very strong ability against most heroes in the game. And if you're consistently, killing flankers or taking flanks, McCree can do enough, but not a lot, which makes him a CT hero. Next I'm going to put in Junkrat. Actually, at C. Junkrat does a lot of shield damage, applies a lot of pressure within choke points, but isn't quite up there yet because he just can't really sustain enough, and you really have to be smart with how you play Junkrat, and positioning wise is so important, because if you get picked off, you just lose so much value. You're not really farming your ultimate. He just doesn't quite do enough against all the shielding and the sustain of the highest meta composition right now. So Next up is going to be Torb. Torb is kind of the same boat as Junkrat. You can do a lot of shield pressure if you like place turrets in smart places, but again, he kind of just gets countered by like Hanzo, for example. Hanzo just takes out turret, and you're not really getting value. So next up, I'm going to move to Pharah. Pharah is a D tier hero. Unfortunately, I just don't think she has a good spot in the meta because she can get picked off so easily by basically any of these heroes at the top. Even though they're not even hit scan, Pharah just needs a pocket Mercy, and Mercy also isn't very strong, so I think Pharah takes a step back. I'm going to go ahead and put Sombra into D tier as well. Sombra just doesn't do enough damage against the new armor buff. Even if you're landing consistent shots on tanks and stuff, it feels like you do no damage. And in this meta, you need high damage to push forward through the shields. So Sombra, even if you hit the fattest EMP, there's not really like a huge follow-up that you can do with any of these heroes at the top. So Sombra used to be good because she could EMP and then like Nano Blade, but Genji is just not good either, so there's that. Next up, I'm going to put in Symmetra, D tier hero. I don't feel like Symmetra gets enough value with her current state, and it's not even like her fault. It's kind of just how much spam damage there is at the top of the meta. Almost every hero can destroy turrets pretty easily, and if you're not coordinated enough with Symmetra, you're not going to find a lot of value. So next up is Soldier. I'm going to put Soldier in D tier. I was considering putting Soldier in C tier, but again, it's Soldier. He just doesn't do enough. Like, his ultimate just gets nullified by basically every ability in the game. Sigma Shield can literally just put a shield in his face, and its visor just doesn't do anything. So, it just doesn't do enough right now, which is unfortunate. But if you're able to lock the legs and get value, more power to you, man. Next up, we have Tracer. I'm gonna put also D tier. Tracer doesn't do great against the new armor buff, unfortunately. She can provide a lot of like flank pressure, but she still gets countered by Hanzo and Mei, so, and she doesn't do a lot of shield breaks, so she doesn't, kind of has a tough time here. Next up, I'm gonna put in Genji into E tier. Feels bad, man. But Genji, even with Nano and comboing Nano Blade, you can still get countered so easily and shut down by almost every ability in the game, starting with Halt, Sigma Rock, Freeze, getting beamed down by arrows. It's just not a good time for Genji mains, unfortunately. Yes. Next up, we have Bastion. Bastion just gets absolutely demolished. I don't recommend Bastion right now, especially when the shields are actually breaking this time around. Obviously, Bastion would probably be up to B tier last patch. Bastion takes a huge hit with the shield nerfs. I don't see any value in Bastion other than like a last-ditch effort to maybe hold a point down. It's just not enough. So moving on to supports now. Baptiste, in my opinion, is a must pick in the meta. S tier automatically by everything in his kit. He provides not only a ton of healing, he provides an immortality field, which is literally makes your team unkillable. He's literally that good. It's an immortality field. And then his Ant Matrix, which is his ultimate, can be comboed with basically any ability in the game, so he just does so much damage while providing so much healing. Baptiste is a must pick. Next up is Zenyatta, right behind Baptiste. I think Zen provides a lot of shield pressure. Discord is obviously strong. You can provide Transcendence, which is good against Sigma ults, which can keep your team alive, and I think it's better than Lucio's, like almost on the same level as Lucio Sound Barrier, but better. And because I don't think Lucio just needs, you don't need to be sped around really. Speed isn't like that prevalent right now, unless you're running like Reinhardt. So Zen is S tier. Next up, I actually don't think any of the other supports run A tier, which is kind of weird, and I think it's kind of a weird balancing thing going on with Blizzard, but I'm going to go ahead and put Lucio into B tier. I think Lucio Sound Barrier is good against Sigma ult. You kind of have to be a Reddit Lucio right now. You can't like play Lucio like you did in the last patch so freely anymore, and I think Lucio just doesn't provide quite enough healing either, so Lucio takes a little step back. Next up, I think Brig will be next into B tier. As I also think Brig takes a little bit of a step back in this meta because she doesn't do enough brawl healing, which is like her main healing in the last patch, because the shields got nerfed and she relied on a lot of the shielding to actually get value, and now her she's kind of vulnerable now, so good luck to you Brig mains. Next up is Moira. I'm gonna put her in B tier. She would have been an S tier pick last patch, but I think she gets she got a little bit of a nerf, and again with like the shields breaking nowadays, Moira just doesn't get enough value, and I don't really think she does enough anymore. You know, and I'm kind of happy about that. I'm getting tired of Moira. I'm getting tired of her damage orb. So yeah, goodbye Moira. Next up we have Ana. She will fall into C tier, unfortunately, because double shield is still meta. It's hard for her to get a lot of value healing, because she relies on, you know, long range heals, and if shields are in the way, you can't heal your team, so that hurts her a lot. Next up and lastly we have Mercy. Also gonna put her in C tier. I don't really like having a Mercy on my team personally because she's too much of a pocket healer. She can't sustain the tanks with the current damage coming through in this meta, and her ultimate doesn't really do enough as well. Because say you're running Mercy with like Baptiste, like it can work, but you just have to your DPS have to be popping off. You know what I mean? And that's not always the case every game. So I think Mercy is kind of a niche pick. I'd almost put her B tier, but you kind of need like your DPS to be doing a lot of work for it to actually happen. So alright, this is where this is what we got. So this is the tier list that I've put together, and I think is truly what the current state of Overwatch is for the meta wise. So Orisa, Sigma, Mei, Hanzo, Baptiste, Zenyatta. If you have that composition, you have a higher chance of winning. You know, you can take my word for that one. This is a very, very, very strong composition right now, which I highly recommend. And obviously, any hero in A tier can sometimes substitute into S tier, depending on the maps, depending on situations. But obviously, I would stay away from anything D tier and below if you can. You will win way more games if you do that. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been kind of a newish video for me, so let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you agree, disagree with me, but if you're interested in talking to me more, I stream every single day on Twitch. If you want to look in the info section below to see my schedule, or you can message me on Twitter. I'll try to get back to you. But thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Joystick, and this has been the Overwatch meta tier list. Thank you.